Hi, I'm Mark Scherer. I'm the CEO and founder of Encompass Life and the host of the Encompassing Life Podcast. And today we have Denise Beckers on the line. And Denise is the CEO of Blake Physical Therapy and Wellness, and she's right outside of LA. And super high energy lady, and very high energy. And she just took over as CEO in March of this year. And she has three clinics already and is opening another one. So not only, I mean, she's high energy and she's focusing it on her own business growth. And I believe she has a lot of passion about what she does because it's all over her. So, so I love to hear about what got you started, where your passion came from, and like what has you so bubbly, girl? I mean, you're like amazingly bubbly.
I I honestly very much appreciate that because some days it doesn't feel like it. So, but yeah, thank you. I guess I mean life can be so hard and tough and everything. So you might as well just have a smile and try to go positively because it's only going to help you out. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah, a number of years ago, I had some pretty tough times in my life. I just went, you know what? I'm just going to start having fun for no reason. And within a short period of time, I had all kind of reasons to be having fun. So I'm a
There
big
you
proponent.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, why
So
get bogged down on the negativity? It's not
yeah,
don't
yeah,
let it win. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was girlfriend at the time, and she's still my girlfriend. But she goes, man, she goes, you act like you're six. I went, thank you very much.
What a compliment. A
Oh,
lot
that's
of
what I said. Thank you very much. She goes,
yeah.
she goes, but you're 60. I go, yeah,
Age is just a number.
I agree.
There you
So,
go.
yeah, but now yeah, she likes it. She likes the playfulness now.
Good, good.
That was 6 years, 6 or 7 years ago. So anyway, so you just recently took on the CEO position in a company that you've been with for how many years?
8 years total.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you're buying the owner out?
Yeah, it was just kind of time for him to retire too. You, the LA fires, I think, kind of switched some things around for people. He unfortunately lost one of his homes in the fire. So it was just kind of this timing, it expedited the process. We'd been talking about it for years, and it just started to make a little bit more sense than not sense. So yeah, it was March this year, and so it's been an exciting roller coaster. But yeah, he's now in Idaho, enjoying life as a retiree. So
Awesome. I just got back from Idaho.
yeah, oh good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
he's definitely like an outdoorsman. So I always thought it was funny that he was in LA, even though
Yeah, yeah.
he would go fishing in like the LA River before work, which like I don't know if you know anything about the LA River, but it's not like
It's all concrete.
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
most ideal fisherman's spot, but he was out there fly fishing, having some positive time before he got into working. So, yeah, he's definitely enjoying his outdoor time in Idaho. So,
Awesome. Well, you moved to a great state for it, for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
I'd like to visit him. So, yeah.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about Blake Physical Therapy and Wellness and what you guys do there.
Sure. So we are your just basic physical therapy rehabilitative center. First and foremost, we can treat any physical therapy ailments. We have a great connection with all the doctors in Southern California for our referral base. So they're sending anywhere between, post-ops to, spinal needs, acute, chronic, anywhere, that you have an issue for physical therapy to come in. So we can treat any physical therapy diagnoses, but the wellness comes in because we have also a little bit more of a dynamic team. We can treat pelvic floor, which is something that's a bit on the rise now. So that is between, male and female. It's not just your prepartum or pregnancy or postpartum. So that's a world and that I would like to dig a little bit more in. That would actually be where the new clinic would shine in a bit more. And then we have chiropractors. We have an acupuncturist that can help us do some dry needling. So basically, just whatever issue that you have going on with your body, we can help you out or steer you in the right direction.
So, um, so with the pelvic floor stuff you're talking about, I've talked to some other people on the podcast as well who are focusing on that also. It does
Yeah.
seem to, and to me, it makes it makes sense. If you got a whoppy foundation, I mean, everything above is going to be messed up too. So,
Yeah.
how did you get into doing all this? And
You know what? I actually I went to so as physical therapists, we have to do things that are called Con Ed courses to keep up with our license every year. And so one of my big Con Ed a few years was diving into the world of pelvic floor. It's just kind of a niche that you can really help people with. It was something that Western medicine just took a long time to really grasp around. Like, the French women would call it their fourth trimester. And, we just were very, uh, we just, it was an untapped territory for us. So I thought of it as a new horizon for physical therapists to start doing, even for like marketing, the whole thing about it was just intriguing for me. And so I mentored a few of our physical therapists who now just do strictly pelvic. And when you dive into the world, you really see how much we as orthopedic providers have missed certain things that pelvic would help them out on. So really in general, it's just more information to put in our toolbox to help people out. So
gotcha.
yeah.
And you said you did physical therapy in college in
Mm-hmm.
Missouri,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Born in
and
Missouri.
so you got your degree there, and then
Yep.
you moved out to San Diego,
Yep.
went went home to see your kids, and we see your siblings have their children, and now
Mm-hmm.
back out to LA. And
Yep.
was it always your dream to own your own facility, or?
No, definitely not. I remember sitting at dinner with Jeff and he presented it for the first time and he was like, "You know what? I really think like it's your time, it could be your baby." And my initial reaction was absolutely not. There's no way I could do this without you. And I think after the years kind of started going on, I was like, okay, maybe I am getting a little bit more of a grasp of what this looked like. But yeah, absolutely. I do not think that that little girl in Missouri ever thought that she was going to be, a CEO of a company or
Well,
knew anything about what that would be. So I'm very fortunate in where my career has taken me.
humble too.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
Missouri. That's the Missouri in me.
Uh,
I can't
uh,
lose that. Can't lose that out here.
I always joke. Yeah, I'm really humble on a 1 to 10 scale for humbleness. I'm a 12.
I do identify Midwest. I will say that. So
Yeah, it's awesome. So, what had you get involved with the physical therapy to begin with?
I think it was me being an athlete. It was something that was always easy for me. I picked things up quickly in that arena. I majority played volleyball. I did it all year round. I played AAU. It's just the camaraderie that you get with your teammates, and like I had a setter that we knew each other when we were in middle school, and we played all throughout high school. And played our club ball together. And that's just like such a special connection that you often find too with like other therapists because you're kind of in the same world, you're doing the same things. You can feed off each other. But I did have an orthopedic injury when I was a senior. I tore my ACL in volleyball. And so while I was probably at the prime that my body's position was in, it still took me a long time to get over that injury. And my physical therapist was just amazing. Like he was so fun. He, now that I look back on it, he did everything right. When it was time for me to go to like more explosive things, he was right there doing them with me. There was just so many times that I wanted to be like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to do therapy. But then I would think about him and I was like, I'm gonna go see him. It'll be fun. So I think that that was my first aha moment of being like, maybe I could do something like this.
Gotcha. And did you play in college also?
Oh no, did we freeze?
Did you play? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So we had a little glitch here on on the call. So you're speaking about that you've worked. You had a physical therapist. You had a sports injury. You had a torn ACL,
Hmm.
and did you have surgery on it, or you just rehabbed it?
Oh no, yeah, I definitely had to have surgery on it. And I blew it out pretty good. So
Gotcha. And so he starts putting you back together again.
yeah, and I don't know how much of that you got, but he was really great. He was fun with me, and when it was time to do more like explosive things that would take me back to, my athleticisms, like per volleyball,
Mhm.
he was right there doing them with me, and it was really fun. And I think that was my first aha moment of thinking like I could probably do something like this.
Oh, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I know a lot of entrepreneurs. They take some type of adversity that happened in their life, and they turn it into a passion, and then they make a career out of it and make a business out of it. And, those people become pretty successful.
And also that's what's kind of fun about the camaraderie about physical therapy too, is there's a lot of us that we had some kind of injury, that made us be a little bit more apparent of like what this scope or what this field would provide. And so you do kind of get that connection with other camaraderies, or your cohorts, if you will.
And you have a purpose-driven life rather than I'm just doing this for a paycheck and to get ahead or whatever. So
Yeah.
that, that translates into bubbly personality.
Yeah, you definitely need to have a bit of a passion in this field. Now, it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be, now that I'm in the position that I'm in, you definitely need to separate your church and state. Like you need to have your time alone, you need to have your mental health, you need to have all that. But you are at work so much and working with so many different types of people. There's psychosocial that comes in. Like you've got to have a little bit of fire in you that keeps your passion alive to keep doing what you're doing, because I mean it's really not an easy position. It's long days, you're a practitioner, you're working on a lot of people. So you need to have that.
Are you do you also work on people, or you just run the business?
I would love to. Every now and then I'll step in. If like someone's gone for a period of time or like maybe even a maternity leave, but it's really hard to find the time to fully treat and then not think about like the emails and the needs and the everything else that's going on in the back of your head. So it's almost like I'm doing a bit of a disservice if I'm treating because my head's in other areas now. But it is fun to kind of peep back in and just be like, do I still got it? So
Yeah.
the skills need to be played with a bit, so that you can remember where you came from. But yeah, in
Have you
general, I basically don't treat anymore.
have you read a lot of business books?
You know what? I tried. It's not,
Really?
it's not the most riveting insight for me.
Really? Huh?
I would
What did you try reading?
Well, I remember when I became COO that I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm having a bit of imposter syndrome. Like, I went to school for physical therapy. Now I'm paying people, like, and keeping HR compliance. Like, it was a bit of a mind switch that I couldn't really
Yeah.
grasp at first. But I remember buying a COO book, and then it was just
Dry.
dry.
Yeah. Have you read the E-Myth by any chance?
No, but I was gonna say I would love any
Yeah.
recommendations.
The E-Myth is really good. Michael Gerber.
Okay.
Um, The Entrepreneur Within is great too. Probably the best business structure book I've read uh, is called Traction by a guy by the name of Gino Wickman.
Okay.
That's really good. And then if you're kind of like into the spirituality and quantum physics, um, language and a pursuit of happiness for business.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will definitely check those out. I do remember a chiropractor that I worked for out here. He would have everybody read the greatest, oh, nuts. I don't know if it's the greatest salesman in the world. You know what? Actually, I need to remember what he had. But it was such a great book on just being like humbled and like perfecting your craft. And it's a
right.
tiny little book. And so it was easy for everyone to read, but he would reference it. And I always thought that that was a really interesting way to like run a company too. So maybe if one of these books are great, I would have my staff read
They're
them
all.
themselves.
If I recommend them, they're all great.
Okay. Okay. Look
No,
at
they're really, yeah, they're really good. They're very well written, and the entrepreneur within, or the E-Myth. It's also, here's a story as well.
Hmm.
And then, there's another book too. Golly, I just remember what that one's about. What the title of it is, but it was about a guy who, it's a fictional story around a real event.
Okay.
Okay, so this guy had a janitorial company, and janitorial companies are notorious for high turnover, right?
Hmm.
People coming in, minimum wage type of jobs and everything. So
Sure.
they had an idea to bring in a coach to not only work with the company, but to work with the team members. And not just to work with them in their interpersonal work relationships, but also what goals you have in your life,
Hmm.
what's going on with your family. And they started bringing in, they brought in a coach to work with team members. Then this became such a success, they began to expand it to the immediate family, the grandparents, and all that. And as they did so, people begged to come to work there
Oh, I
because
love that.
because they're changing their lives working for the company.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they were starting to apply to these schools. So they had people begging to come to work there, and they would help people advance throughout the company as far as they can. And then, some people would outgrow their position there, so they brought on an exit coach to help people transition to a new career. To
Oh,
to
wow.
Yeah, it's really, and how they took that company
Mhm.
from, like over 100% turnover a year to down in the low double digits.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it was all about, what's really important for you with your family. So some people were janitorial, and they were able to buy their first home, first home in their
Right.
lineage,
Hmm.
and they had kids who were able to put through college, and all the stuff they did for their team, and
Yeah.
how much that company outshined
Yeah.
everyone else. Yeah, all the competition.
That is really nice. I do like to do that in like my reviews. Like if it's a 90-day review, a year review, I like to kind of give them options on like how much they want to get into. Like, are you, finances, is that like your mode right now? Do we need to give you just more money? Do you want more time off, like to be with your family? Are you not from here? Do you need to fly, to the East Coast where that takes a little bit more time, than what the average PTO is? But it's really important to get into your employees' minds and like what fires
Yeah,
them up and like what they hold dear to them.
yeah, yeah. The bottom line mentality. At some point in time, that's, people can't just focus on that. You got to focus on your human capital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. This is fun.
Yeah, this has been fun.
I'm enjoying it.
Good.
So,
Good. Me too.
so tell me when you have a client come into your business,
Mhm.
what's the typical, like, what's the experience like? Somebody walks in the door first time, or doctor sends them over. What's the initial progression like?
Yeah, good question. So, first and foremost, we've already done an insurance verification. So, we're an insurance practice. Some of our practices are going to turn a bit more cash because they're going to hit a bit of a niche. But you're just general physical therapy patient. The doctor sends over a referral. They make an appointment. They make an initial evaluation. So, that initial evaluation is with the therapist, and it's that one-on-one, 1 hour going through medical history, everything. You might have just had shoulder surgery, but we're talking about, how do you sleep, how, what do you do, what's your prior level like, what do you want to get back to, what are your goals, take measurements, do all the physical therapy portion of it, the objective portion that we need to do for insurance to approve. But then after that, you basically will have follow-ups. So the initial treatment is an hour, one-on-one with the therapist. And then the follow-ups are 30 minutes with the therapist and then 30 minutes with an aide. And so our aides are all pre-physical therapy. So they're basically us before we got into our physical therapy programs. And you kind of have to do that to get that stepping stone to take on, the courses and everything that you need to get into the physical therapy programs. So they're really great. We mentor them. And so, oftentimes patients will be like, hey, I want to get on so-and-so's schedule, but it's like, well, you can't because they're not a therapist yet. So the point of that is they get taken care of, even though it's not one-on-one treatment with just the therapist. And then, yeah, we do an insurance verification on everybody since we are an insurance practice. So when you call, you basically just give over all of your information. And then our billing in-house team will do what's called an insurance verification. It breaks down your deductible, your copays, your co-insurance, where you're at. Do you have a limit? So that you get a little bit more of an understanding instead of being slapped with a bill, when you come in. So we like to give that insight before that they come in so they can decide if that's something that they want to do as well.
Do you work with people who are just paying cash as well?
Oh yeah, there's always the cash component. The cash portion makes it a little bit easier for everybody because you can be one-on-one with the therapist. So like if you really get involved with your therapist and you really enjoy them and you want to be with them for the full hour, you can always pay cash. Also, pelvic floor is usually cash, and so is our chiros. They can treat, your through insurance too, but chiro benefits are a little bit different than PT. But obviously people still have them. So your niches kind of have a bit more influx of that cash payment. So, but it's also kind of annoying because you probably pay in for your insurance too every month, and those premiums are never cheap. So it's like you kind of want to use your insurance because you're paying for it, but then you also want to pay for good care. It's a toss up for cash and insurance. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So, the insurance companies, it keeps going up and up and up and up. It's wild.
I mean, it is really it's crazy how their thought process is and how, like I graduated in 2011. Reimbursement rates have maybe gone up a couple of dollars here and there. And so the trajectory of like what inflation does for people to be paid and for rents and everything, it's like insurances can't keep up, nor do they keep up with that demand.
So how are you navigating that?
It's hard. That's definitely the hardest thing because, would I love for my therapist to make more money? Would I love to do XYZ that, of course costs money? Like, yes, but I am a bit pinholed in what I'm allowed to do due to reimbursement rates. So
Hmm.
the unfortunate thing is if something doesn't change, the world of physical therapy is going to have to demise its care a little bit because we're no longer going to be able to afford it.
Hmm.
So.
Well, even insurance. A lot of people can't afford insurance either as they age. I guess
Sure.
Medicare and all those other things too. But the rates keep going up and up and up.
Right.
So,
Or, when I was younger, it was always like, just get to 65, and you can get on Medicare. But it's like people push that so much nowadays because it's still so expensive to get on. I know, our Western medicine and Western insurance needs some help.
well, so does the Western medicine model.
Yeah, I mean, it all does. Like, how
Yeah,
they've worked, they've not kind of come up to date. We're
we
still.
spend more money on more money on health care per person than any other country. We have the sickest people on the planet.
I know
So,
there's a disconnect somewhere. So,
yeah,
yeah,
to me, um, it takes a lot of energy to maintain a lie. Like
yeah,
if I were to tell you a lie and tell somebody else a lie, I got to keep that in my conscience to make sure I keep my lie straight, right?
right.
It takes energy to do that. So my definition of a lie is in business is anything that's going up in cost and reducing effective results is based on a lie, and the whole system requires to be tanked and rebuilt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I do also think that people who can't be as busy, like, I don't know how they stay afloat. You do have to, the patients are what's needed. So, but you know what? We're doing pretty good. So, again,
awesome!
keep
Congratulations!
focused on the negative.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So you have chiropractic, you have physical therapists, you have junior physical therapists, and anything else that you do specialty? Like you said you were doing not doing acupuncture. You were planning on doing acupuncture.
Well, we do have an acupuncturist. He's just on a leave of absence right now. So, but yes, we do because we do love to have somebody in house to be able to dry needle since California doesn't allow a physical therapist. The only
Gotcha.
that doesn't allow.
And about
Um,
what's the duration you generally work with the patient?
each treatment is anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, I mean, for how long?
Oh, sure. Okay. It depends. It depends on the diagnosis. It depends on the person. Like me, when I was getting my ACL, you have so many phases that you have to go through before you can even start doing agility work. So you're in there for 6 months. But somebody who maybe just sprained their ankle a little bit or is just having some general back pain from like sitting on a plane or something for too long, those might be a little bit more easy fixes. Um, so it kind of depends. We definitely have
Gotcha.
people who have been here for a good amount of time and people who just know us to come in for their aches and pains, when they happen.
Well, I got a pretty severe accident a number of years ago, and every so often I still have some things showing up from it. And working with chiropractors, working with massage therapy, it's and strength and I guess over strengthening the muscles around it so where I can that they're really supported. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's gotten way better.
And even COVID brought on a lot of like postural needs. Everybody was working from home. People were just having all this like neck and upper back pain. And so sometimes people just need a little bit of education. What you don't know, you don't know. So that's where we can come
Yeah,
in.
get a ball to sit on.
Yeah, there's a lot of different tricks of the trade that we can definitely give people
Gotcha.
insight on.
So, what's the best way for people to reach out to you and connect with you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, every location has a different phone number, but all of them can help, with any of the sites. But our website is lakewellness.la, so they can always reach out to us on an inquiry on the website, or check us out, online and look at our clinics on Google and get connected on which one suits them best.
Awesome. So, I do have one other question I'd like to
Yeah.
leave with. And what do you love about life? What do you love about life?
What do I love about life? I mean, there's definitely a lot of things I love about life, but maybe the first thing that's coming to my mind today is that tomorrow's anew. You can do whatever you want. So if you didn't get as much done in today that you wanted to, there's tomorrow that comes up.
Cool. Awesome. And well, Denise, thank you so much for being on the show. And I look forward to send me an invite when you open your 10th clinic.
Whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
whoa.
You franchise and go national.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what?
You're, you're 30, you'll be 38. You got plenty of good years in you.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep telling myself that. But yes, I will definitely keep you in mind when I get
Thank
that
you.
clinic. Yeah.
Pleasure having you on. Blessings to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Take care.
You're welcome.